Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth talked about the president's commitment to securing the southern border. This follows along on that same thematic line, protecting the homeland. Let's bring in former CIA analyst and co-host of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, Buck Sexton. And now joining us as well is U.S. Army Ranger Tim Kennedy, former U.S. Army Ranger Tim Kennedy. Tim, thanks for joining us. Buck, good to see you again. Where I left off with you, Buck, before we dipped in to listen to this from the President and the Secretary of Defense was, are we ensuring that we are fighting tomorrow's wars? The Secretary of Defense mentioned this was inspired back from Ronald Reagan, beginning with Star Wars, and it's a fulfillment now with the Golden Dome. I guess I initially wondered, are we still in the age of intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear capabilities from superpowers? And the answer is that's been diversified. And the Golden Dome is designed not just for that, but to deal with drones and to deal with any threat to the future of America.
Well, yes, I think that one of the things that we can agree on, no matter what one thinks about the Biden administration's involvement with the Ukrainian fight against Russia, is that a lot is being learned on that battlefield. And a lot of it has to do with the way that technology is being integrated into warfare in ways that we haven't seen before because that technology has advanced, most notably with drones, but also with telecommunications, satellite uplinks. I mean, things that you're going to be seeing much more of, I think, in the future. And to look at where we're going here strategically, I mean, there's also the threats of things like hypersonic missiles. I mean, things that now seem somewhat more theoretical are going to be threats that we have to defend against. And you don't want to, this is what I was saying right before the president started talking about it, you don't want to be waiting until you need these things to have them. So I think that's absolutely critical. And also you see some of the companies that are involved or some of the private sector efforts that Trump is going to be bringing together. I mean, amazing, right, innovative companies, obviously SpaceX, but also Anduril and others. These are companies that are bringing best practices of Silicon Valley, merging it together with Pentagon necessity and budget. They're going to be doing incredible things, and I think this is the way of the future.
Palantir, SpaceX, and others mentioned, as you point out, and a timeline of 3 years. That was suggested. 3 years and $175 billion by President Trump. Tim, while we have you, I do want to ask you about this other announcement from today, and that is as well from the President and the Secretary of Defense, about a panel commission to investigate the disastrous pullout from Afghanistan. It's the beginning, as I heard yesterday from the Secretary. It could take some time, but ultimately, the goal is accountability. Yes, Tim, lessons learned. Not to see another Saigon, not to see another Abbey Gate. But also, I think for everyone watching today, they're asking, what does that look like? Accountability.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to unpack everything that happened during the last month or two. The withdrawal was done so poorly. It was embarrassing on the world stage. Like, it was some of the most horrific moments of my life. I was there as a volunteer with Save Our Allies as we are evacuating Americans. But people remember people holding onto wheel wells as those planes were taking off. We also saw the chaos that was on the runway every single day until the 82nd Airborne and the Marines arrived and then secured, provided the initial security and stability for the airport so we could start doing proper evacuations. To understand the multitude and all of the different ways in which we failed is going to take some time. Right. Obviously, your former colleague, Pete Hegseth, at the helm of this, but it's necessary for us to understand what went wrong so we can prevent it from happening again. But we're also living in a meritocracy where we have to identify ultimately who is responsible and who excelled in these moments.
Right.
The men and women on the ground, they did an amazing job. Hats off to those Marines and to the 82nd Airborne, but this can't happen again.
No, this can't happen again. You're exactly right, Tim. Having private conversations yesterday, I know one of the big goals is to ensure this does not happen again. But I know one of the things the American public wants to see as well is accountability for it having happened in the past in Afghanistan. Tim Kennedy, Buck Sexton, I appreciate both of you being with us here today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.